What's up, guys? Ted Darklaw here, and today we are going to strike a pose. Today we are talking about posing, and helping me out here is the Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Iron Man. One of the things I struggled with when I started collecting was getting dynamic poses for my displays. Right now these guys are in very basic vanilla poses, as boring as I can make them. So today we're going to take these guys and pose them up into a display inspired by one of my favorite scenes from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Captain America Civil War. What I'm trying to accomplish here is a pose based off of that clip that we just saw. The tag team with Bucky and Captain America beating down Iron Man as he's trying to murder Bucky for killing his parents. All right, and to start things off, I am going to start posing around Iron Man here. And mainly because he's going to be in the middle, so I need to space the other guys around his initial pose. So when I am posing figures, one thing that I am looking for is dynamic movement and storytelling. Whenever I pose a figure, the first thing I ask myself when I am done is, can I make this look cooler? And if that answer is yes, then we do some tweaking. So what we're going to have Iron Man doing here is he is trying to blast Captain America. That'll happen a lot with his hand blaster here. Captain America will be deflecting it with his shield while Bucky is kicking him in the back. So I have a starter pose for Iron Man here. It's nothing spectacular. He is just down on one knee. His head is looking up. He's got the blaster effect going. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have Captain America in a very similar pose as far as the legs go. So he's going to be crouched down like that as well. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at what I just did there, because I time-lapsed it. It got a little boring, just having that as raw, unedited footage, so I sped it up. But we're going to take a closer look here. So one thing you can notice is while it looks like they would be touching from a certain angle, these guys are not connected in any way. And I think it's really important that your figures are able to balance on their own without the need of having to lean on something. So these guys are self-sufficient on their own. Now Captain America, he was struggling to hold this pose, so what I did was I twisted that ankle sideways and turned it into a little kickstand. So it's not the most natural look, but in the overall grand scheme of things, it's not that noticeable. Another thing that we did was we twisted his hips here to help give us the right angle. He's deflecting that blaster coming from Iron Man with the shield. But if he's just straight on, it wouldn't come close enough. So we got him in a twist. And what this also does is it adds a little bit of movement to the scene. But other than that, everything here is pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and add the final piece, which is the Winter Soldier now. All right, the plan is to put the Winter Soldier right here. And this one will be a little bit trickier because it's going to require a lot of balance. So what he's going to be doing is he's going to kind of be kicking Iron Man here in the back while Captain America is up front using the shield to deflect that blaster. So we're going to slide this over and get them kind of out of the shot here. Okay, so we got the Winter Soldier in place there. He is balancing on his own and he is kicking Iron Man in the back. One could argue that we are done here. However, I am not super thrilled with the final outcome. This looks cool, but we can make this a lot cooler. For starters, one thing we are going to do is we are going to connect the shield and the hand there. And I made mention earlier about not wanting your figures to touch, but this won't be for balance purposes. This will be more for dramatic effect. So that shield will be jammed into that wrist as it's knocking it away. Next, we're gonna focus on the Winter Soldier here. So he is balanced on his own. He's not touching Iron Man there. The kick looks okay, but he's a super soldier. He needs to look like he has a more powerful kick. So we're probably going to tweak his pose a little bit, maybe get a little more movement in there. And then also what we're going to do with Iron Man is he's going to do a little bit of selling. If you're not familiar with pro wrestling, selling is something that a wrestler will do when he's hit. And that's what makes it look like he's in pain. So the look that we're going for here is when a wrestler hits another wrestler in the back with a steel chair. Their shoulder blades kind of go back. Their head jars back a little bit as well. Now, Iron Man is in a metal suit. He's very well protected, but he's getting kicked by a super soldier. So that is going to have some sort of painful impact on him. And that's what we want it to look like here. So we're going to get the kick going on from the back. And then I still want to keep the shock from Captain America deflecting his blaster in the front. And here it is, our final version of this pose. So I'm pretty happy with that. Everybody's balanced now. I don't know if you noticed in the time lapse, you got to see some behind the scenes stuff of how frustrating it is sometimes to do some poses because these guys kept toppling over. So whenever you guys are looking through Instagram and seeing all these really cool poses from people, just remember that figure probably toppled over like 3 or 4 times. All right, so we're gonna zoom in and take a look around this scene real quick. All right, so Captain America's right here. We still have him pretty much in the same format that he was earlier. We didn't do a lot of changes. I think we might have lowered the shield a little bit because we wanted it to really connect with that wrist and give the impression that he was knocking that back with some sort of force here. And you can see that from different angles. Iron Man is probably the one we messed with the most. So we changed his arm movement a little bit. While you can't pull a Marvel Legends shoulder up, we were able to move it so at least looked like those shoulder blades were coming back a little bit. And then also we have the head knocked back to amplify the movement from the Winter Soldier, kicking him in the back. And then we also have him looking at the blaster, kind of in shock of what just happened. And then lastly, we have the Winter Soldier, who was a little bit trickier to balance than what I would have hoped. But he is standing on one foot there. We have the knee bent and his ankle going out flat, as if he was doing kind of a sweeping kick type motion. It's giving Iron Man a knee to the back. So we do have a slight twist in the hips here to try to give some movement. We have this arm up, and then we have this arm kind of swinging back. And that was to try to mimic the pose of somebody in the middle of a fast kick movement. And that is it for today, guys. I hope you found this video informative. If it's something you would like to see again down the road, feel free to leave me a comment. This is a series I would definitely be more than happy to continue doing. But that is all I have for you. So, until next time, thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon.